We have two of the most creative players in the world of chess, Arjun Erigaisi and Pranesh, facing off against each other at the Esports World Cup. Arjun representing Gen G Gaming, while Pranesh playing for S8 UL. This is a very crucial match because the one who wins it goes into top 8, the one who loses is out of the tournament. Arjun won his first battle against Nihal, then lost to Firuza, and now is here, while Pranesh lost to Nodirbek Abdusattarov, then went to the lower bracket, beat Benjamin Bok, and now faces Arjun Erigaisi. The games begin. Arjun has white pieces in the first one, opens with knight f3, d5, c4, d4, b4. Oh my god, this is a very sharp line. Creates crazy complications. Bishop b2, knight comes out to f6, and g3 to put the bishop on g2 on this long diagonal. Queen comes to c7, bishop g2, Pradesh takes the center, Arjun castles and takes e3, blasting open the center, knight c6, trying to hold on to it, but Arjun's prep looks sharp here. Now, you can take on d4, but you can also play a3, like the Benko style. Takes happens, bishop takes, and now bishop to e7. Taking this pawn would be a bit too risky when you are so underdeveloped. Rook e1, castles, d3 played by Arjun, and now black already seems to be doing quite well. Look at black's pieces all very nicely into the game. Arjun plays his knight to d2, and now rook d8, attacking the bishop, also the pawn on d3. So bishop comes here to hit the queen, queen b6, and now pawn to d4, saving the pawn. Pranesh jumps in. He attacks the bishop on e5 and also the pawn on d4. Beautiful chess. And now Arjun goes knight to b3. Already in some sort of trouble because takes. Now queen c7, hitting the rook and also the pawn would be very strong. But he goes bishop f6, allowing Arjun to go rook b5. And where will Pranesh go? Because if queen c7, rook takes b7 is happening, but he plays rook c1. He tries to defend this, so Pranesh also gets to defend his b pawn. c5 is the only logical move here, but Arjun goes wrong. He goes d5. And now this pawn is not really taking this because the queen is hanging. And so bishop c3, excellent move, defending the pawn on b4. And later on you can trap the rook with bishop d7. So Pranesh already better. c5 played, bishop d7. If you play c6, I'll take it. Pawn takes, queen is hanging. Arjun in trouble. He's down to 4 minutes. He pushes d6. Queen goes back. And now this is hanging. c6 played. Takes. Queen takes and he takes on b4. If you take here, I take this. But rook d6, good move. Hitting the queen. The queen comes to e2. And remember, you can't win here because of queen b5. It's a double attack. So that's the reason why he goes rook e8. Queen f1 played to save the queen. Pranesh has been playing incredibly well until this point and is clearly better. Arjun in trouble. Takes. The bishop is hanging now. Saves it. Bishop f6. Clean extra pawn for black. Rook c7. Trying to attack the a pawn. Rook a5. Rook a7 played to come in with rooks to c7. He goes bishop d8. Stopping this. Also defending the b6 pawn. Rook c2 trying to shore up the second rank here. King f8. Knight comes to d2 in order to attack the rook and the pawn. And b5 played. Maybe Arjun can come back to b3 to attack the pawn on a5. That seems like a logical way to continue. But he goes rook b7 and already b4. Black is the one in driver's seat. Pranesh keeping toe to toe with Arjun. In fact, even doing some things better than him. Bishop comes here, attacks the pawn on f2. Knight jumps to f3. Now need to be careful because knight is coming in to these squares. Maybe rook e7 is one idea, but he goes f6 and this is a crucial error because this opens up the 7th rank. And now knight h4 is what is very powerful to jump into f5, attack the rook and also this pawn. He goes rook e6, good move. The knight jumps in, attacking here. G6. There's a fork which comes in. But now a check to the king. The king has to move. King G2 and Rook E2. Excellent play here by Pranesh, surviving. But Arjun has enough counterplay now, attacking the bishop as well as the pawn here on F6. What to do? I mean, if you take on F2, I go King H3. Not so simple. He goes Rook E7, trades, takes the king, and now we reach the Rook endgame, where perhaps Pranesh is slightly worse. Rook A7 to defend the pawn, but he goes active. He's like, you can take my pawn, Arjun. I'm going to go active, Rook E2, and I'm going to defend this endgame, which is maybe the right decision practically, but in this time control, it's too difficult to defend pawn down endgames with no increment. Remember, H3 played. H4, excellent move, fixing the weakness on H3. Check, King G7, and Arjun starts to push. King G6, Arjun starts to push his A pawn. A5. Rook A2. Rook goes to A8. And A6, A7 is coming. King goes to G7. A6. Rook A3. Cutting the king off. F3 played. Another check. And King F7. Now careful, if A7, King G7 back is a draw. So he goes King E1, and now taking here is dangerous. You have to basically wait. But he goes King G7, and instead of King C2, Rook A7 check was the correct move. But it's so complex, this endgame. It's very difficult to understand how to defend here as black. Well, if you want to draw here King F7, and then when he goes King B2, you wait on the A file, let the king come up, and then start checking from behind. It's unbelievable, but that's a draw. Taking this pawn is a mistake, because now after check, check, Rook comes out. Rook here, check, King G6, A7 is a mistake. He had to play Rook C6, because now F5 is played. Check, king here, check, king here, takes, king takes. Already this is a draw. But now the only move is King F4. This is a very study-like draw. He goes King G6. It's a mistake. We'll look at it later. King B5. And now the king is coming in. I can understand Pranesh's reaction of going back with the king. King F5. But now a check, check, and Rook blocks. Check here. King F4, check, King G3, and Rook blocks here. Takes. He takes the pawn, but the queen is made. And you are just too slow. Here, Arjun's king is coming back faster. And now Arjun just thinks for a bit. Finds the most accurate way to checkmate his opponent. And Arjun Erigaisi scores the win. What an incredible game this was. Pranesh playing brilliantly, showing his class. And actually Arjun in the end not giving up, also showing why he is one of the best in the world. And 1-0 up. Pranesh now has to strike with the white pieces, but before that, let's go to that instructive moment in the Rook endgame to learn something really important. Okay, we come to this position where king is on b4 and Pranesh went King G6. This was a mistake. But think about it. The right move is King F4. And that seems like a wrong move, because this is always the trick. You give an intermediate check. Now if he goes up, you check and block. If he goes down, you check and block. Surprisingly, the only move to draw here is the shocking King E5. Just insane. And I was thinking to myself, like, what if I go here? Well, that King D4. And if you go Rook A5, which seems the most logical move, I give a check to your king. Now, you have to go to A3. There's no other way. If you go King A3, I give you a check. You go up to save your rook, I give a check. It's an instant draw. Of course, the natural question is what happens to King A4? Because if you give a check, I then run. But this is even losing after King C4 and you are over. So this was an incredible defense that was missed. I don't blame Pranesh for not finding it, but it's so instructive to go back here, to then face here, and when he blocks Rook A5, to simply give a check and draw the game. It's now time for the second game. Let's begin. This time Pranesh with the white pieces. Let's see what he has up his sleeve here. He opens with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight to c3, knight f6. We have the 4 knights here. h3 played. The bishop comes to b4. Well, usually you play the 4 knights when you need a draw, but Pranesh is playing it as a winning weapon. That just goes to show that he's a player with some unusual thinking in his mind. Bishop a5, b4 played. The bishop drops back, and now you bring your bishop out to b2. I think it's a very original position. Arjun may not have prepared this, which is what Pranesh may have wanted, to not be caught in Arjun's prep. h5 played by Arjun. Well, Arjun also doesn't know how to play calm, cool chess. He always loves to attack. Bishop comes to e6, and now rook c1 played. The idea naturally is to put bishop on b1 and go for d4 break. a5 played, not the best move, because now Pranesh can gain more space. He goes b5, knight goes to b8. Arjun wants to come via d7 to c5, but bishop b1, excellent move, preparing d4. Knight d7, d4, takes, queen e7, and now you can take on e6, but he castles, which is a good move, and Arjun long castles. Interesting. I mean, I would say the black king is in more danger than the white king, but remember, g5, g4 can open up things very quickly. Rook e1, he brings his rook to e8, and now queen comes up to d2. Let's see what Arjun does next here. Maybe knight to e5, he can jump in. The position has equalized evaluation wise, but it remains super complex. Knight to e5, if I take here, I'll lose a piece, right? Because this is pinned, so better to not do that. Queen g5 played, and he offers a trade of queens. Now Pranesh, of course, doesn't want to take it. He goes back, but in doing so, he's giving Arjun a chance to attack now. Knight f3, f6 with the idea of g5 looks the most powerful. Just pushing the pawns forward. But let's see if that happens. He goes directly g5. He's like, I don't care. I'm going at you. If you want to take this pawn, be my guest. I'm ready for it. Now, one of the things that's hanging in the position is the pawn on c4. So queen g5, the natural move, I think, is to take and play bishop c4 when black is doing very well. But Arjun says, I want to keep the queens, and suddenly switches to the attack. Now bishop takes h3 is a threat. So Pranesh has to be careful. Knight takes e6 is possible. Knight f5 also seems possible. He takes. Queen takes. And now king f1. He comes out from the attack on the g file, and Arjun makes a small error, because you see this knight on c4 has opened up the file against the king. But this is what Arjun does. He doesn't really care about what is wrong with his move. He sees what is right. He won a pawn. He wants to win another pawn, but that would be suicidal. I think knight ce5 would be better here, but he takes here, and now a winning move for white is the very stealthy queen e3, attacking the knight and the bishop. If you take here, I will take knight d4, hitting your queen, and take this. And if you take on b1, I have bishop b6, putting pressure here. Queen e3, not an easy move to find. He goes bishop d3, knight jumps in. All of a sudden, queen e3, black is doing okay. King b8, but once again a chance. Rook c3 traps the knight on a3. It's not easy to find again, because there's so much happening in the position, right? Attack here, there's pressure here, this is taking, that you can't really focus on this move. But bishop e2 played, and now the only move, knight b3, otherwise you are in trouble. This knight is almost trapped. Taking that pawn was risky. We already felt it. Knight b3, he goes in. You have to take on b6 to attack c7. He takes, and now rook c3, just come up. But he goes knight d4. He wants to trade the knights. which is fair. Takes. And now Arjun goes rook c8. d5 was the best move. But now queen takes b6 and black is in big trouble. But he goes queen d3. He feels that the knight is trapped. But Arjun is tricky. He won't let the knight get trapped. He can come in here, not directly because of rook a1, but first take on c1. Take on c1 and queen a2. Excellent move. Now queen takes d6 check. And take on f6. Win couple of pawns. But he goes king g1. It's a bit, step in the wrong direction. Queen b2. Rook comes up. Attacking here, somehow the knight is surviving. This knight is an insane piece. It takes. So if queen takes c3 is hanging. So rook b3 seems like the one, but he goes rook c2. That's a mistake. Check, by the way, queen b1 check would have been much better, and then king a7, but check, king h2. And now Arjun, well, here bishop f1 had to be found, because now knight d4, excellent move, hitting the rook and the bishop. Queen c4 hitting the rook, but he takes on c2. Check, king a7. Count the number of pawns. Black is 2 pawns up and also has these passers here on the queen side. The only way is to checkmate, but you cannot do it with such a powerful black queen. g3. And now Arjun, well, he's going to weave these two pieces together. Queen d4 hitting the bishop and the pawn. King g2 check. Look at the combo of the knight and the bishop, and you can't even take here because that would be at least a draw. So takes with a check. Knight f2 taken. Queen f7 check. King here. Knight e4. Now queen f2, queen d2 is a threat. He plays h4, d5. Bishop comes back, and now queen f2, and it's a checkmate. Arjun Erigaisi wins 2-0. But I must say the match was far more intense than the scoreline. Pranesh, hats off to this youngster. We are going to see a lot more of him in the years to come. Meanwhile, Arjun Erigaisi has made it to the top 8 and will next face Hikaru Nakamura in the quarterfinals. That would be an amazing clash. Arjun looks like a man on a mission. He's completely focused. Let's go down to Paris to hear Arjun and also get his thoughts on how he felt about this match. Him and Nihal are both through to the quarterfinals. Arjun versus Hikaru and Nihal versus Magnus. It's Indians versus the best in the world. We'll be following it. For now, let's head over to Paris.
Applause one more time for Pranesh. And if I could please get a word, you're officially qualified for the playoffs. How do you feel about your play up to this point?
I think yesterday it was very good. Even though I lost one match, I was pretty happy with how I played. But today, even though I won, I wasn't so satisfied. I think I should have played better. But okay, I'm happy that I got the job done.
Last year, you finished in 4th place, an amazing finish. Of course, this year, you're looking to take it even further. How confident are you in your chances to beat your placement from last year and maybe lift this trophy?
Yeah, it's never going to be easy with such strong players like Alireza, Magnus, and everyone. But I'll just focus on giving my best, and that's all.
Okay, and last thing that I have to ask about, they show the heart rates up there. Your heart rate is only like 50-something while you're having these matches. How are you so calm in such a high-pressure match?
Yeah, this is something that comes to me pretty naturally since 4 years ago was the first time when I played under heart rate, and yeah, it was like 80s or something, and recently I started exercising more, so it's understandable it got even lower.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Arjun. Arjun, you can go ahead and crush your opponent's key.
Another time to crush a key, crush some dreams, as the ice-cold winner himself, Arjun Erigaisi, joins us next to the traditional key crusher. Key is being set. Arjun, congratulations again. Looking forward to see you on the playoffs tomorrow. Remember, only 8 can remain tomorrow. And he just punched his ticket. It is time to give him the quick briefing before we go and destroy that key. We've had pretty good pops All you have to do is to go for this until you hear it explode. This is the end of the way for Pranesh, but Arjun validates his ticket. Let's hear it. Nice, clean and efficient. Congratulations once again to Arjun. You can just stand next to me, brother. Congratulations to Arjun. You will be back tomorrow, but once again, please everyone can have a big round of applause for Arjun Erigaisi.